Welcome back to Caelesti. Today we're going to be doing some light map stuff. I've been working a lot on the light maps and they're actually really cool. You can see here we have a perfect example of the difference between block light and skylight, which is quite interesting. Before we do go into light maps though, I'm going to explain a few bits about how they work because they are a little bit weird, a little bit complicated. So light maps with Optifine are split into three categories. You have the overworld, the Nether, and the end, and they're all defined by world and then a number. Some of you may know that the overworld is 0, the Nether is -1, and the end is 1. Kind of adhering to the idea that the end is above the overworld and the Nether is below the overworld, perhaps? Who knows? Just my idea, who knows? Forgiving Void, just saying, had the idea ages ago. But yeah, so you can make an entirely separate light map for each of the three dimensions, which is not something that you can do in vanilla Minecraft using a resource pack regularly. And you can also define a number of cool other attributes, such as how light looks when you have night vision, how block light and skylights both appear, because they are actually two different sources of light, and it gives us a lot of control as to the kind of things that we can do. So I've come in this little room here. You can see I've set up a little tunnel to try and illustrate my point. Now you can see here, this is obviously skylights. So this is skylight right here, and you can see if we look on the right-hand side, the left-hand side of the screen. Wow, the left-hand side of the screen. You can see that we have 14 skylights like that. Now if I move over to the left, the skylight's going to decrease and decrease and decrease and decrease and then until it's nothing. So now we have 0 skylights. But if I start moving towards the back wall, you may notice that the block light starts to increase, and that's because we're getting closer and closer to the torch. Now, things with a higher block light will appear to be brighter. For example, I believe if we get a beacon, beacons are actually one of the brightest things in the game. They actually have a block light of 14, I think it is. I think it is anyway. 13, 14, 14... 15. There you go. So they have 15 block light if we're inside them, whereas torches only have 13? Yeah, there you go. So basically different things in the game have different brightness, and that's pretty cool, and you can do that. You can do things with that. But yeah, as you can see here, we have some torches. Now, unfortunately, one of the things that we are lacking still in terms of light maps is light maps per block. It would be really nice if I could get a redstone torch and make this thing emit red light, but unfortunately that is not actually possible with the current methods. You can do that with shaders. I believe you can actually have light change color when it goes through stained glass, which is incredible. But you cannot do it with regular Minecraft, unfortunately, which is a real shame. Maybe we'll get it in the future, but it would have to be a thing added by Mojang, really, because it would be way too complicated for Optifine to add. And my faith in Optifine's ability to do basic things is starting to decrease all the time because we still don't have emissive textures. Still. So, yeah. But yay, at least we have shader support now. Yay, we can adhere to that fan base. People who use Optifine exclusively for shaders, because making a game look more like real life equals making a game betterer. Anyway, so here we have the light map. This is the daytime light map. As you can see, we have the daytime. Just set the sun back, even though it was over there. And then when we can set nighttime, it's going to go very dark. Now, I am a big fan of Minecraft being more like real life in terms of some logistical ways and making it more difficult in ways that you wouldn't usually expect. Now, usually when you're playing with Minecraft, you can usually just chill at night and you can just see everything and it's fine. But I actually really like the idea of nighttime being intensely dark because it makes all these patches of light look amazing. Like, look at those look at those destroyed villager houses on the horizon. They weren't so lucky. But yeah, it's fun. So basically, nighttime is going to be very dark, but the block light that fills the nighttime is going to be very bright. As you can see there, it's got kind of an orange glow to it, which is quite snazzy. Next up, we have night vision. Now, night vision will make the entire world turn slightly green. I actually had something very similar to this in Skir ages ago. Something very, very similar. But I eventually removed it because it was kind of annoying. This was just kind of a little bit different. So originally in Skir, what would happen was I had effectively inverted the light color map when it was night vision. So if you had night vision and it was daytime, the entire world would actually be dark. And it was kind of like, in my opinion, it was kind of a cool thing. Like, if you happen to use night vision in the daytime, then, oh no, it's reversed it, and you have negative side effects. But obviously, that's kind of like a client-side thing anyway, so it just gives you a disadvantage compared to other people. It would be cool if it was a data pack thing, but it doesn't matter. You can't do that, unfortunately. So, the obvious better alternative to doing that is just to make everything way brighter by making everything green. So, if it is daytime or nighttime, everything will just be a slight green tint, and I think it looks quite nice. Obviously, these color maps do exist in the Nether and the End, and we're going to be checking out those ones shortly. But first of all, I do have some other blocks that we're going to be going over. And before that, we have weather as well. So first of all, clear weather, as you can see, is quite clear, and rainy weather is slightly grey. It's very, very subtle. But you may notice in here as well that the light actually just became a little bit weaker in terms of the skylight. It's actually very intentional that the skylight is just generally weaker during rain. So where this line comes up to here is actually a little bit shorter than what it was before by about 1.5 blocks or 2 blocks, I believe. So basically rain kind of makes the sky dull and grey and makes the whole world a bit more grey as well. You can see the difference between skylight here and regular block light when it's being used to its full capacity. We also have lightning. Now, lightning is going to make the world even darker and even have a slight tinge of orange as well. So there you go. So we have some lightning storms, pretty snazzy. And once again, you can see that the skylight has become even weaker once again, with this line being pushed back even farther. You may notice here there's a slight red-orange tint, as I just said. That is true. Reddy-orange tint looks pretty cool. It's pretty nice. So yeah, we're going to set it back to regular weather though, because it's kind of annoying. So yeah. So now moving on to blocks, we have some fiery blocks. Now, obviously, given that this update is to do with light things, I figured it would be quite cool to have light-based blocks be updated as well. So we have the furnace, the smoker, and the blast furnace. Now, this is mostly just similar to what we did in Skir, only it's more Japper, I guess. So yeah, so all 3 of the on textures are animated once again, which is very nice. Minecraft, being as inconsistent as it is, still has the issue of certain blocks that are obviously comparables being differently animated. So I think in vanilla Minecraft right now you have the blast furnace, which is animated, the smoker, which is animated, and the furnace, which is not animated for God knows what reason, even though they're all just a variation on the furnace basically. So like, why wouldn't, is dumb. I don't really get it. Obviously the smoker no longer has the little door. I tried making a 3D door. It didn't look good. I didn't like it, so we just removed it. So now we just have a similar kind of thing to the furnace there, where we have like a little window on the top as well. Similar to Skir, I've removed the terrible, terrible animation from the smoker and replaced it with these kind of like hot logs texture that you can see down there that kind of fits the smoker's vibe. And obviously with the blast furnace, I've done the same thing as we did in Skir, where we have these much larger windows that make the blast furnace look much more cool. And we also have these rods that travel along the back and top of the blast furnace, making it more of an orientable block, making it really good for actually doing things like this. If we look at that, see? Oh, that was unintentional. That was unintentional. I'm so sorry. Hang on. I was supposed to do this. Oh, you can't make this stuff up, can you? Jesus Christ. Hang on. Oh, please. Jesus Christ. I saw it. I saw it. I didn't think. I'm sorry. It wasn't intentional. I was trying to do this. You will realize, like, I obviously wasn't trying to do that. I was trying to do... Is this... Am I making it worse? Am I just... I feel like I'm just making more of them now because, like... I'm just... You see? See, it looks good. See? Thank you. I regret making a turbine icon out of blast furnaces. For fuck's sake, how did I manage to fuck that up so much? Never mind. Anyway, we also have a new texture for the torch. The torch is very simply the texture from Skir currently. I am planning on making some sort of interesting model for this thing. I'm not entirely sure what the best way of doing it would actually be. But yeah, it's just now more Japper. So there you go. Japper tool rod, as you can see. Japper brazier and a Japper torch head. It's pretty cool, pretty snazzy. So yeah. Torch is looking pretty fine as well. We also have some variants here. As you can see, torch sat on top of an iron rod, which is desperately in need of a 3D model. We have the fence and we have the wall. As you can see, it looks pretty good. And we also have the spawner here to showcase the flame particle effects as well. So there you go. It's pretty snazzy, pretty good. So before we end the video off, I'm going to do a little bit of exploration in the Nether and the End as well. Supposed to cut the video now. Probably didn't, though. Okay, so here we are in the Nether. Unfortunately, it's not the 1.16 Nether, because Optifine is even slower than Mojang, apparently. Yeah, imagine how long it's going to take us to get fucking Optifine in 1.16. It's going to be ages. I mean, it's taken Sphax, or SP64, whatever you... I don't know how you say his name. I thought you could say it like Sphax, but I guess I was wrong. I'm probably also thinking of something else entirely. 614. SP614. He's taken this long to do Optifine for 1.15. How long is it going to be for 1.16? Because 1.15 has been out for a good while now, and I know they did change quite a lot of things to do with rendering systems, and obviously the way that the game is processed in general, but it just doesn't give you much confidence, you know? How long is it going to take? No one knows. No one could know. Because he doesn't really give good updates. Because they just give us an arbitrary percentage which doesn't represent anything. So it's great, isn't it? Yay, good to know. So yes, this is the Nether. Nether is very red, as you can see. If we give ourselves night vision, it's going to look very cool. Effective Skaliber night vision 100,000 true. And you can see it makes the light go like the overworld. So obviously we have the very dense red fog in the distance, but we also have the very, very bright and white light of the overworld when using a night vision potion. Now my logic with this is that the kind of green coloration of the night vision potion is counted out by the Nether's red glare, and in reality we ended up with just what looks like very, very similar to the overworld light map, basically. So yeah, fire actually does obviously give off a light map. You can see there, it's not very obvious, but there is a tiny bit of light around light emitting blocks still. Yeah, it just looks generally quite good as well. Man, I'm so hyped for 1.16. It's going to be so good. Just saying, 1.16 is the best update Mojang's put out in a long time. Like the pillage and village update. Is that what it's called? Village and pillage? Pillage and village? Village and pillage. The update that added cool villages and pillages, that update was pretty cool. It was decent. Obviously, bees was a joke. I don't know why they didn't just make that 1.14.5, because it was clearly not supposed to be a content update. I get it, it's a big deal for them, because they're like, oh, we redid the whole thing, and we're so proud of ourselves, and we're so happy, but we don't give a shit. We're just like, no, give us cool stuff to play with, you know? Finally, we have the end. The end is pretty cool. The whole point of the end was supposed to be that it's quite dark, with a very slight pinky purplish hue on the torch texture. Well, I should say the block light texture, or the block light map, or whatever you want to call it. It's not really a texture. It's kind of a texture. It's not, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, it's supposed to just look kind of a bit more purpley. As you can see, there's a good example here with the obsidian pillars, where it looks quite dark towards the bottom, and then builds up to the more bright purple on top, where the fire is right there. Let's actually just remove that. Yeah, it's very dark. Yeah. So it's very simple. It's just a very dark place. It's not as dark as the overworld, once again. It would be brutal if the end and the nether were logical and were just equally as dark as the underground is in the overworld. In fact, part of me wants to do that because it would be more realistic, you know, like so far the logic with this pack has been that if you're underground in the overworld during day or nighttime, doesn't matter, it's going to be super dark and you're going to have to deal with it. Really, the end and the nether should really be as dark. You know, there's no source of light in the end that would be making the world this viewable. And the nether is a giant cave system with again, no light apart from all the lava inside it. So it would actually make loads of sense for me to make the nether and the end light map like as dark as the overworld's darkness is, but also that would be shit and no one would use that, so I've just not done that. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you didn't enjoy this episode of Caelesti because it was rubbish, and hopefully next time we can get on to doing some more interesting things. But I am burned out and don't care, so time to play more Subnautica. Take care, boys. Bye-bye.